I'm live. It's the Nazarite bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. This one is not so much from yore, it's not biblical. In about a week, we're going to have the festival of Purim. This whole month, this whole moon, not March, but the actual cycle of the moon, Adar, or the 12th month, or in this case, the 13th month of the Hebrew calendar, it's all about increasing joy. So I want to read a quick note from the Baal Shem Tov, which was, well, Google him, Baal Shem Tov, if you want to know more about him. Words, words fail me. So he said, sadness locks the gates of the heavens. Prayer opens them up, and happiness or joy has the power to break down the walls. There is this idea that in this month we increase joy or increase in joy, depends how you read it. But there's a lot having to do with the body. It's very visceral. The scroll, which is attributed to this holiday and which revolves around it, the scroll of Esther, does not mention God by name. And this has many reasons and meanings, and I won't get into it right now. Maybe as we come closer to the holiday, I'll give my 2 cents on that, or other people's 2 cents. But what I'm trying to say is that increasing in joy can be problematic. It can be, because there are times when you force yourself to do it, you're not really there. It creates this dissonance which cannot be sustained for long periods of time. I know with me, it's difficult for me to sustain such a thing. It's good for the short term. Sometimes it's even good for the long term. But I personally, I need to be there. I need to really care. On the other hand, there is merit to fake it till you make it in certain cases. There is something to that. And the idea behind joy being able to break walls is that when you are happy, when you are joyful, it shouldn't be a goal, really, for some maybe, but it should definitely be something to acknowledge when it is occurring in reality. Whenever happiness comes your way in whatever shape or form, you should acknowledge it and be thankful for it if you're so inclined. It's something that is not a given. It's not obvious that we are happy. It's not obvious that we are joyful. I made a video, I'll link it up there, down there, wherever, on the pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And well, watch it if you want. I say there in a nutshell that don't pursue happiness, pursue liberty. Happiness comes and goes. A free man, and take that however you want to, is free. You know, there's freedom. Chase freedom, and not in an egocentric kind of way, or also, but real freedom is not just freedom for you. Real freedom sort of, you know, flows out. It's a paying it forward kind of thing. Someone who's free in mind and body, again, very subjective, but a person of that nature has the proclivity, or it just happens that way, that many times it surrounds and evolves past that individual into the community. I don't know, I'm getting all. So joy, having the power to break down walls. It does, it really does. And Rabbi Nachman of Breslov says that when you are joyful, in times when you are joyful, make an attempt to pull in some negative energies and negative vibrations. I may have mentioned this in a previous video. There is the idea, he says, let's say when there is a wedding, right, and people are dancing, and there's always some guy or gal who does not want to dance, but who really does. They're standing on the side, you know, a wallflower, tapping their head or shaking their leg or whatever, and you perceive this potential in them that they really do want to dance, but they're too shy to make the move. So you go out there and you grab them and you pull them into that circle or row or whatever it is. I've done this, and not to people who didn't want. If they say, no, 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 then I let go. I don't do it against their will. I perceive a will that is being kind of pushed away, or not given, not being fully acknowledged anyway. I do this at weddings specifically, but not only, where I'll see someone, and I've had that happen to me as well, where someone sees me and they pull me in. And Rabbi Nachman says that when you are joyful, your perspective changes, your state of mind changes. It's able to be more encompassing because you have this breath of fresh air. You widen, your spirit kind of heightens when you're joyful. And if you're able to acknowledge negative things, not too negative, but little things that you've sort of been carrying with you, whether it's from that day or from a lifetime, things that you're carrying with you, you have the ability to pull into that joy and see them from a different perspective and get closure with them. And that way you're not carrying them anymore. I recently, just recently, and I'll link them down there, saw a video, not the whole thing, but the woman in that video said that Purim is a festival of the body. Unlike other festivals and holidays in the Hebrew faith, it's a festival of the body. I don't completely agree. I think there's a harmonious mixture of soul and body in every holiday, but it really is more. Yeah, it's true. It is more of a physical holiday. You drink. There's a commandment, not a biblical commandment, a rabbinical commandment of drinking. I don't drink, but for years I kept Purim and I drank alcohol. There's something there where you're supposed to drink more than you're used to feel a bit of extra joy. And some say you're supposed to drink until you don't know the difference between Haman and Mordecai, right? The protagonist and antagonist, if you will, of the Scroll of Esther. Though, no, she's more of the protagonist. At any rate, joy. So how do we increase joy? I have a whole other video on the gratitude attitude, and I don't follow this all the time, but the gratitude attitude is an amazing thing where you are able to appreciate the little things and they accumulate. And that's the beauty of it. Again, don't fake it till you make it. Sometimes you should, not a way to live your life, but there are times when you should take the extra step to acknowledge something, a little thing, a tree, a bird, a cat, a lamp. Whatever it is that you can stop for a moment and perceive and acknowledge, and that can increase joy, if ever so slightly, there is something to that because it changes your perspective a little bit. It allows you to uh, facilitate more of, not facilitate, to encompass more, to hold more. The idea behind Purim being a festival of the body and this month where this Hebrew month of one where you're supposed to increase joy, it's the idea that when you change perspective, when you change your mindset, if only temporarily, you are able to experience more. You're able to take certain things, burn off karma. I think that's precisely what this is. It's burning off karma. When you are in a state of joy, real joy, genuine joy, that elevates you metaphysically as well as physically, you're able to take certain things with you that you've been carrying, see them from maybe a slightly different perspective, and then you're able to either let them go or acknowledge them more or decide that due to that you'll change something now, however it transpires. Because when you're flatlining, or certainly when you're in a sad and depressed and down kind of state, you go into survival mode. A lot of time I do. Survival mode is a place, you know what I'm talking about. I don't need to explain what survival mode is to you. um, it's just a place where you're able to perceive less and you attribute significance to things that may be not that significant. Or it, for me, when I'm in that place, I shut down. I freeze. I'm working on it, but sometimes it happens. I freeze and I'm not able to see things properly. And sure, there's the be here now. What is happening now is happening now, so that's the proper way. Yes, sure. But I know that for me personally, there is an even better way, which is not any less genuine of viewing reality. And I know that that's where I want to be, not because I'm forcing it and pretending. Techniques of avoidance, they can make you really, really bitter. I feel that it's good in the short term. It's less of a thing in the long term. Techniques of avoidance where you have a mantra where you clap your hands and suddenly you force yourself to be in a better state. There is merit to that. But nevertheless, later in the day or later in the week or later in the month, you need to go back and acknowledge whatever it was that was causing you that. You need to be happy. You need to be joyful. You need to increase in joy. And nevertheless, you need to contend with your decisions, with your body, with your mind, with your soul. The idea of Purim and this month where you're supposed to increase in joy, the joy needs to be so abundant and so high that on Purim itself, there is this idea, like I said, of not even being able to differentiate between right and wrong, moral, immoral, good and evil, Haman, Mordechai. You're supposed to get to a place where you're above the right and the wrong. It's not good and evil, up or down, left and right. I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way. Something is causing me strife, something is causing me joy. It's before any of that, before that fractionates, fractionates down into those emotions, into those behaviors, modes of being and conduct. Before any of that, there is that simple, well, I suppose, path. Before it becomes all of those things, there's a path. You can call it simple energy, infinite potential. There are different ways, and you can call it keter or dat. There are different ways of naming this. It's a simple existence, not even in body. It is the root of what later on becomes the soul, the physical body, and the emotions and modes of being that go on here. Purim is a special time. Our sages teach us there is that tradition that at the end of days, when many other holidays, all other holidays, are canceled out in the world to come or close to the world to come, uh, Purim will still remain a holiday, a day that's observed. And again, there's a lot there, and I'm not going to get into it now. Do I say that too much? All right, maybe I do, maybe I don't. So I'm going to say goodbye, good day, thank you for watching. I hope we find real ways, genuine ways of increasing in joy, individually, personally, and finding ways of letting that flow out from us and affect those around us. And it doesn't need to even be with words or deeds or actions. It can just be in your mind where you're sending out good vibes, something I totally believe in. Let's have a good one. God bless.